Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back again with another disturbing Jay Slater video. I hope every single one of you are doing well. I want to segue straight into this one off the back of the last video. Make sure you go and check that video out. We were speaking about Brad towards the end. We were talking about missing time. And I want to stick with this missing time for a minute because Brad once again confirms in that same interview missing time. And I know, this is an interview that most of us have listened to over and over again. And people have to know that in order for us to get justice for Jay, there's going to be points where we're going to go over content, the same old content over and over and over again. The reasons why we do that is because we get new information. New information leads to different perspective, different opinions. One of the things that we reacted to recently was Ayub's podcast with the Central Club. Since then, going back over the old content is so important. Why? Because Ayub has given us a different perspective. Ayub's given us more insight. Ayub's given us more to the story. And I don't think we're going to get anything more from Ayub. Ayub isn't going to tell you anything more than he told you on that podcast. But there's things that I want to bring to your attention in this video, which include missing time. It's been brought to my attention about the phone pings and the phone signals, the phone pings that have been tapped into by some guys over in Canada. I'm not too sure how true that is, but we're going to check that out. We've also got the legends, Duncan Smith, who has gone out of his way to contact the Dutch team. And if you hear what the Dutch team have to say, I'm telling you, you're going to be sitting there questioning everything all over again. Here we are once again. Let's just quickly touch on this. All right, cool. So here we have Brad just about to tell us that he come out of a festival himself. Like I said in the last video, I think Brad was telling us the truth when he said, I just come out of a festival. He was trying to think of a lie, but he couldn't think of a lie. His brain just couldn't think of a lie, so he told the truth.
Because you could hear, like, when you walk on gravel or whatever it is, you can, you know what I mean, it's storms.
Were you concerned at that point?
Not at the time, no, because we were both like laughing about it. He said, look where I am, like, I just come out of a festival myself.
Here's the truth. He came out of the festival and that's when he spoke to Jay on the phone. He never spoke to Jay at 8:30 in the morning. They're just making it look like they spoke to Jay at 8:30 in the morning.
Because he didn't seem concerned on the phone until we knew how far away we were.
Until we knew how far away he were. Who could he be referring to when he says we? He went to Tenerife with Jay. He was in Tenerife with Lucy and Brandon. Who could he be referring to when he says we?
Yeah.
I said, put your location on. He said, a 50-minute drive or a 14-hour walk. I don't know if it's accurate or not.
Yeah.
So I said to him, well, it's only a 50-minute drive, get a taxi.
Mentions to Jay, get a taxi, but somehow a taxi was never called. Not by him, not by Jay, not by Lucy, not by none of them. Remember, Lucy turned up to the Airbnb at 12 o'clock, according to Ayub. But where was Brad? What was Brad doing at that time? What was he doing at that point? What was he doing all the way up until this interview?
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about anything. I've been here now. We've been missing for 10, 11 days.
There we have it. Did you hear it? He's been missing now for 10, 11 days. 10, 11 days. Is it 10 days, 11 days? Like, Brad doesn't actually know how long he's been missing for. At that point, you would have thought you would have known how many days your friend had been missing for. It's been 10 or 11 days. Brad's not too sure. Is it 10 days? Is it 11 days? That implies missing time. And that is literally what I wanted to show you. 10 or 11 days. He doesn't actually know how long it's been when he really should know. You were with Jay and then you wasn't with Jay and you haven't seen him since. How long's that been? Did that happen on the 17th or did it happen on the 16th? Another thing that people have always been curious to know is why it took Brad so long to come out and do this interview. What I believe is Brad was used as leverage at this point. There was a lot going on there, a lot of conspiracies, a lot of stuff being said on the internet. There was information out there at that time that could have implicated and incriminated a number of these guys. And if you really, really think about this interview, Brad didn't give us nothing in this interview, gave us a description on where the body potentially is, gave an alibi to Tom Hilton and said, no, it's got nothing to do with Tom. That's all we got from this whole interview. That was the main focus for this interview, like I told you guys before. And at the same time, you had people on the grounds like Chris Tenerife who claims that this interview helped him find Jay's body. And at the same time, they're also calling Brad a hero. And we were saying months ago, why are you calling Brad a hero? But they were making it look like whatever Brad had done, he deserves the title of being a hero. Now, if we look at all of the things that Brad had done, all of the decisions that had been made, even what we got from this interview, Brad's no hero. Brad hasn't given us anything. If anything, Brad's made it look like he could have done more, but it didn't do more and chose not to do more. Time it took for Jay to get from the Airbnb to his point of destination where his body was found, it was 2.5 hours, according to the Netherlands team, the Dutch team. So if Brad spoke to him at 8:30, that's 2 hours before Jay would have come to his full. How in that 2 hours, how within 2 hours was you not able to get to his screenshot location, the screenshot location that he allegedly sent over to you guys? It makes no sense. It's like he made the phone call to you, sent you the screenshots, and you guys just got on with eating breakfast. As we said in the last video, it doesn't make any sense how the Dutch team landed the day before Jay's body had been found. They was able to get Jay sent from the Airbnb all the way up until where the helicopter plane was. Canines that were there, supervised by the Guardia Civil, could not trace Jay's steps. They could not track Jay's body. It was in an area that the Guardia Civil never searched. The dogs would have taken you to that point of destination. So actually, we might have to go down there. They sent drones and all types of things down there over that period of time. Did they see Jay's body? No. Now, Duncan Smith has been doing some fantastic work. He reached out and spoke to the Dutch team, the SIGNI team, the guys that flew out on the 14th of July to help Debbie Duncan and the family find Jay Slater. However, one of the people from the SIGNI team that spoke to Duncan Smith, they told Duncan they never heard any chopper. Another thing that jumped out to me is a person from the SIGNI team confirms that they must have found the body much earlier than 8 o'clock. That can then only connect with what DTR said about the animals and the noise that was going off at Mascar at 2 o'clock in the morning. So were they searching that ravine? Were they really going down there at 2 o'clock in the morning with the chopper? So what was happening in Mascar at 2 o'clock in the morning? Were they dumping the body? Were they really looking for Jay's body at 2 o'clock in the morning? Again, can only take you back to DTR's video where the animals are going wild, and he claims in that video it was 2 o'clock in the morning. But that would make no sense. It just would make no sense for the Guardia Civil or the rescue mission team or whoever it was to be in the ravine at 2 o'clock in the morning. If it's that dangerous, Chris Tenerife was doing videos of him trapped, lying on his backpack in broad daylight. But these lot are using ropes and a harness to go down a cliff at 2 o'clock in the morning. Also been brought to my attention about the phone ping. Now, we really want to know what's going on with Jay's phone. I was told by someone about 2 months ago that Warren and Zach had flown back to Tenerife because they were inquiring about Jay's phone. It was said in the media a number of months ago that Jay's phone had been found. It had been found on a beach. That was published by the media. That was published by journalists. But the situation with Jay's phone is extremely questionable. That phone right there gives us a lot more than we have right now, even if things are deleted. Now, I'm not too sure if what was told to me is true, whereby Warren and Zach went to Tenerife to get his phone. If they did they retrieve the phone? I don't know. What has been brought to my attention is a video by Rich and Ruby. It's a new channel on YouTube, and allegedly they've got access to satellite data information. And over the next couple of weeks, it's been said that some truths could be revealed from that satellite data information.
I think that was the last time that he had his cell phone, 3:37 a.m. on June 17th, 2024. Who the heck had his phone? 13th at noon to the 17th at noon. When we get that data and that info, if we can somehow get pings out of that, we might know exactly who had his phone. And won't that blow a bubble? Because whoever's phone pings with his phone.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Let me just go back. I'm not too sure what this is saying. I mean, it's interesting what this guy is saying here. If this is true, ladies and gentlemen, then the people that his phone could ping with are phones associated with Ayub, Rocky, Brandon, Brad perhaps, Lucy. They're the phones that you would expect it to ping with. If his phone's ping in the Masca area and it pings with Brad's phone or Lucy's phone, there's questions that need to be answered. If it pings with Ayub's phone, Ayub's still in the clear. Ayub's like, well, bro, he was with me. He was rolling with me. So the only problem is do we know if Ayub had a phone? Ayub put his auntie's number as his Airbnb phone number. But this is extremely interesting. I just want to listen to what he's got to say one more time.
I think that was the last time that he had his cell phone. 3:37 a.m. on June 17th, 2020.
So he's claiming that 3:37 a.m. is the last time Jay had his cell phone. How would he know that? I know he's talking about the phone pings, but how would he know if it was Jay who had the phone at 3:37? It could have been anyone that had Jay's phone. It could have been someone that found Jay's phone and they thought, oh, brand new phone, iPhone 15.
24. Who the heck had his phone? 13th at noon to the 17th at noon. When we get that data and that info, if we can somehow get pings out of that, we might know exactly who had his phone. And won't that blow a bubble? because whoever's phone pings with his phone.
I mean, again, I do get that point of whoever's phone pings with his phone. I do get that. That could be crucial. But when you ask the question of who had Jay's phone at 3:37, the answer is Jay had his phone at 3:37. And that's just based on what we've been told. Remember, Jay was in control of himself. He left NRG Festival, jumped on a car with Ayub and Emlot, and he drove up to the Airbnb. Ayub said they didn't land at the Airbnb until 6:40 in the morning. Now, this brings us back to missing time, ladies and gentlemen. 6:40 in the morning. And the last bit of footage we see of Jay was waved out of his face, as we do know, but we've got confirmation that that footage was taken in between the hours of 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning. So after 2 o'clock in the morning, we don't get to see Jay. Ayub claims they got to the Airbnb at 6:40. If NRG Festival finishes at 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock to 6:40, which is 2 hours and 40 minutes, what were they doing? What was taking place? Brad claims that he spoke to Jay as he was going up to the mountains. Ayub claims they stopped off and bought kebabs with no real proof that they bought kebabs. Rocky was sleeping in the car. He definitely didn't eat no kebab. Based on the fact that Ayub says that Jay left in the morning to go and get scran, it sounds like Jay didn't eat no kebab. So was the kebab story actually true? Or did something else take place between those 2 hours and 40 minutes? Even Brad gives us more confirmation that there's missing time because he couldn't even remember whether Jay had been missing for 10 or 11 days. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a few interesting points in this video for you lot to digest and soak up. I need you to leave your comments down below. I want to know exactly what you are thinking right about now. Make sure you hit the like button. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn your notification bells on, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.